You are watching the WD Broadcasting Network, your home for racing highlights, iRacing broadcast, commentary, and more. But here comes Jeremiah Woods. He wants to win in the Street Stock Showdown. He's hungry to get up to the front. If you are a fan of short track racing, the WD Broadcasting Network is your home for racing content in real life and on the sim. Follow the WD Broadcasting Network on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to hit that red subscribe button on YouTube to never miss an upload. Top spot away, Terzak once again into the back bumper. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the show. Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the WD Broadcasting Network. Welcome back to the Leave the Pack iRacing League, and welcome to the Street Stock Showdown. Tonight, we are here live at the Hickory Motor Speedway for the Hickory 100, one of the longest races in Street Stock Showdown history. Practice just finished up, and we are just about ready to get rolling in qualifying. Let's look at the point standings before we get too far ahead of ourselves here. Brandon Atkinson currently holds the points lead by just 10 points over Dylan Connor. Elvis in the 54, who's got a win this season back at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. The second race of the doubleheader. So far this season, in 6 previous races, we have had 5 different winners. The only driver able to pick up 2 victories is Connor Knowlton. He's currently 14th in the point standings. Haven't seen him in a couple of weeks. Right now, everything getting set and ready to go. We'll head down trackside and try and see if we can see some of our drivers qualifying. 54 of Brandon Elvis, bringing back a classic paint scheme we haven't seen in a little while. A throwback to, I think, Season 1, he ran this paint scheme with the Street Stock Showdown. Took a couple checkered flags with it as well. Matt Borndren fast in qualifying. He's currently at the top of the board. These drivers have 2 laps to get their best lap in. And Borndren, second time around, a little bit slower. Matthew LZ Jr., second quick, a 15.446. Next up, the driver that has been lights out in qualifying and the Street Stock Showdown holds the record for the most fast qualifying awards. He's got 9 in the series. This is Dylan Connor, your winner last week at Myrtle Beach. And Connor, quick time, 15.421, just barely faster than Brandon Atkinson in the 15. Both drivers shutting it down after lap number 1. Jacob Hayes trying to improve his lap, not able to do so. And just a couple drivers left here. I believe there is 22 drivers on the property. Carter Hollingsworth, lap 1, goes 6th quick with a 15.478, but Braxton Deweese bumps him back to 7th. We'll see if Carter can pick it up on lap 2. Across the stripe, slows it down. Chris Smith in the number 80 machine. Elvis Coleman Racing and Coastal Performance on the side of that car gets the green flag. Final car to qualify. We'll see where Chris Smith can go. Everybody going to start tonight's field, so there's no bubble spot that he has to worry about. Smith, first lap time, a 15.510, good enough for the 11th spot. And second time around for Smith. Close it down a little bit, so that is going to do it for qualifying. Dylan Connor, once again, fast qualifier in the Street Stock Showdown. That is number 10 for the 91. 100 laps here tonight. Going to be a long one. Let's see what he has to say before this race. We'll see if we can get him up into the broadcast booth real quick. Up into the booth. Fast qualifier here tonight. Dylan Connor, another fast qualifier award. You are the all-time record holder for quick time awards here in the Street Stock Showdown. Tonight, you're going to start from 7th after the invert. 100 laps. What's it going to take to visit victory lane a little bit later on?
A lot of patience, I think. Not only for the tires, but also just to keep the car clean. 100 laps is a long time here, a rough, bumpy track. Sometimes you can even just hit a bump wrong and slide up into somebody. So just being patient, preserving the tires, and hopefully I'll have a shot there at the end.
Yeah, like you said, preserving the tires. You've only got one set. You don't have anything on pit road to bail you out. That being said, this racetrack kind of tends to move up to the outside lane. How do you expect the racetrack to move throughout the 100-lap event? Do you think it'll be mostly top? Do you think guys will be able to work the inside lane? How's that looking for you?
I definitely think the top is going to come into play the second half of the race. It typically does most any car, but I think it definitely will here. I think a lot of the guys going to be slipping bad on the bottom. So um, I could see maybe later on in the restarts, whoever's got track position kind of choosing that outside lane. I could see that coming into a factor for sure. But kind of glad at the beginning to start on the bottom in 7th. I feel like that'll be a good spot to be to start with. But I can definitely see it transitioning up to the top later tonight.
Yeah, for sure. As we get later into the race, I think it'll be more difficult to pass on the inside lane. So the top may be the place to be. Hopefully you can get it figured out and we can be talking to you later on after 100 laps here tonight. But congratulations on fast time once again in the Street Stock Showdown.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep. All right, folks, that was your fast qualifier, Dylan Connor. Let's meet our entire qualifying result sheet. I guess we can try again there. There we go. Dylan Connor, 6 1,000ths faster than Brandon Atkinson. Your points leader just barely missing out on those 5 extra bonus points. Matt Borndren, good qualifying effort in the 00. And third, Matthew LZ Jr., another good qualifying effort in the 27. He was 5th last week, 4th this week. Andrew Turner in the 51, 5th. Brandon Elvis and Braxton Dewey, 6th and 7th. That is your front row after the invert. So Deweese going to bring this field to the green. Right now, he is currently scored 7th in the standings, but the 8 machine has had a lot of speed all season long, just has not had the luck to pair alongside, which is unfortunate because I think if Braxton could stray away from some of the unfortunate situations that he has put in, he would be one of the drivers right there up at the top of the standings. Looking ahead on the Street Stock Showdown calendar, we have got Rockingham next week. So we're doing the longest race here tonight at Hickory, and then Rockingham next week, the biggest track we have ever been to, the High Banks of Rockingham. It's almost going to be a drafting track, but I don't think the drivers are going to be able to push each other bumper to bumper like we see in the Cup Series. So that's definitely going to be a challenge. 50 laps there is going to be a longer race, but it should be a fun one. Then after that, South Boston, 75 laps. We went there a few times in the Street Stock Showdown. and then Slinger for 200 laps. That's going to be a fun race. July 28th. Put that one on your calendars because that's going to be one that you won't want to miss. 200 laps at Slinger. Last season we went 100, and it was one of the better races of the season. This year, double that distance, 200 laps. And right now I believe we are waiting for the heat race to finish up. And then we will be going racing. Okay, it looks like we are fully advanced through this session. So I think once we figure this out, we will be back to racing. We're going to take a quick step away here on the WD Broadcasting Network while we get this session sorted out and make sure these drivers are all ready to go racing. When we come back, we will be racing here at the Hickory Motor Speedway. 100 laps going to be the distance for the Street Stock Showdown. Be back in just one moment on the WD Broadcasting Network.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
Race Day social media, and more. Cody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
All right, race fans, we are just about ready to go racing. Warm-up session underway. Everybody getting those final preparations set for this 100-lap race at the Hickory Motor Speedway. Last time we came to Hickory, Christian Peterson walked away with the victory. The time before that, Carter Russo was the winner. So in the two previous trips, we will not see a repeat winner here tonight. We'll have a new Hickory winner. Like we mentioned, the invert going to be a 7. So from our qualifying results, the invert will be a 7. We'll look at that lineup in just one moment. And meet our starting field. 22 cars scheduled to take the green flag. 100 laps with no sets of tires on pit road, and it is a very easy thing to do if you want to burn up the tires early. You can drive up on that outside lane and try to work your way to the front, but it's going to make you pay for it. And let's meet our starting lineup. We mentioned earlier on, after the invert of 7, that will put Braxton Deweese on the pole. And to his outside, that'll be the number 54 of Brandon Elvis, 1/1000th away from the pole position. Rolling off third in the 51 machine, that's going to be Andrew Turner. And to his outside, the driver out of Otsego, Michigan, that's Matthew Elsie Jr. in the 27. Row number 3 on the inside lane, the number 00, that is Matt Borndren, driver out of Rockford, Illinois. And to his outside, current points leader, the driver from Statesville, North Carolina, that is Brandon Atkinson. Row number 4 to the inside, your fast qualifier. Talked to him earlier on, that's Dylan Connor. And to his outside, the driver from Yorktown, Indiana, the 28 of Carter Hollingsworth. Row number 5 to the inside lane, the number 7, that is Jackson McLaren. And to the outside of the 7, that's the number 50 of Tristan Pena. Rounding out your top 10 starters. Row number 6 on the bottom side, that's Chris Smith in the number 80. And to his outside, Cole Baxter, winner from the Nashville Mini. Jacob Hayes in the 0, going to roll off from the 13th spot with Trey Ashworth to his outside. Peyton Hamlet and Chris Shepard, row 8. Gavin Gardner, Zach Murphy, row 9. Justin Coleman, Jesse Binkley, Noah Longyear, and Logan Drumheller round out our field. And we are green flag and racing here at Hickory. Braxton Deweese and Brandon Elvis lead us down into turns 1 and 2. Elvis takes the early advantage from that outside lane. Able to roll the top on the start. And leader of lap number 1, give it to Brandon Elvis. We work down into turns 1 and 2 for the second time. Everybody still trying to get things sorted out back behind. Matthew Elsie Jr. to the outside of Braxton Deweese takes that second spot away. And everybody here just trying to get things sorted out early on. You can see Carter Hollingsworth to the outside of Andrew Turner in the 51. Turner on the inside, Hollingsworth on the outside. So far, the outside lane has looked strong. We've got 4 cars tightly packed for that third spot just behind your front 2. Brandon Elvis and Matthew Elsie Jr. lead. We come back to work lap number 5. Your top 3 get single file as Brandon Atkinson is able to get by Braxton Deweese. Deweese in the 8 machine struggling to get that car rolling on the bottom. Now Turner in the 51 looks to his outside. Turner able to drive up around. Carter Hollingsworth going to get by as well. Nearly contact there as Deweese in the number 8 finally gets some ground made up. But up in front, Brandon Atkinson, your points leader in the 15, looks to the inside of Matthew Elsie Jr., but Elsie shuts the door right there on the back bumper of Brandon Elvis for the race lead. Here comes Carter Hollingsworth to the outside of the 15, looking for the third spot. 28 looking racy here early on. He started in the 8th spot in this one, already up 4 positions, trying to work his way forward after just barely missing that invert. Atkinson to the inside of Elsie down into 1 and 2. Elsie just barely able to drive that car in deep enough to drive it around the top lane and keep Atkinson behind. Tristan Pena in the 50 gets around Braxton Deweese. That is for the 6th spot on the racetrack. Deweese back to where he qualified in the 7th spot. A little bit further back, that's Peyton Hamlet on the outside, Jacob Hayes on the inside. This is the battle for the 14th spot on the racetrack. Everybody up in front of them has figured things out for the moment. You see everybody up in front, single file. Hamlet, though, not content with riding just yet on that outside lane to the outside of Chris Smith. That's for 13th. That 98 car making some ground up on the top lane. He gets clear. He will set his sights on Trey Ashworth now in the number 8. Dylan Connor, your fast qualifier, not able to make the charge forward just yet. He's currently back to the 11th spot. He did say he was going to try to take things easy early on, not put too much stress on the tires, and it looks like that is what he is doing here. Back behind, Jacob Hayes trying to work back forward. Gavin Gardner right there in the 55 as well. This pack all just behind your top 10. This time by 15 laps into this one, 85 to go. Still a long way remains here at Hickory. Brandon Elvis currently holds the race lead in the 54. Trying to pick up his second win this season. LZ in the 27 right there on the back bumper. Atkinson not too far behind in the 15. Into turn 1, Jacob Hayes and Chris Smith still battling for the 14th spot on the racetrack, just in front of Gavin Gardner. Dylan Connor in the 91 still looks like struggling to get that car moving forward. You can see the 7 of Jackson McLaren just up the road in front of him. And lap 20 up on the board. Battle for the race lead. Elvis holds the top spot. LZ right there in the second position. Atkinson third. There's a 6-car breakaway right at the front of the field. Then there's a small gap back. Great racing so far. Nobody having any major issues. We are 22 laps into the books. Dylan Connor looks to the inside of Jackson McLaren, your fast qualifier, trying to work his way back through the field after the not-so-tremendous start. Into turn number 3. Connor on the inside lane. He was talking about how the outside would come into play. It looks like it is already into effect. As McLaren able to hold off Connor in the 91, gets back down to the bottom, shuts the door, and here comes Trey Ashworth to the outside. That is the tough part about looking to the inside. You make that dive underneath, you better be prepared to get back up to the top. As you can see, Trey Ashworth in the number 8, able to carry the momentum on the outside lane, and he'll pull ahead of Dylan Connor, move Connor back to the 12th spot. Not the direction he's wanting to go early on, but just a quarter of the way into this one. Still 75 laps remain, a long way to go at Hickory. Up front, we'll check in on our race leaders. Brandon Elvis continues to show the way, but he has got Matthew LZ Jr. right there on his back bumper. You can see how close the 27's getting. Oh, a little contact there just about. I don't think it upset the 54. But LZ right there on the back bumper, ready to pounce if there's any mistake. Just outside of the top 10, Trey Ashworth and Dylan Connor creeping up to Jackson McLaren, who holds that final spot in the top 10. Lap 30 up onto the board. McLaren on the outside trying to get around Cole Baxter. Up the road in front of him, Tristan Pena is getting underneath Andrew Turner. That is for the 5th spot. These two have lost a little bit of ground to your top 4. And Pena now drives underneath through turns 1 and 2, and he will slide up in front of Andrew Turner. And now here comes Braxton Nuise to the inside, trying to work his way back forward. Nuise underneath Turner, able to take the spot. Back behind him, Peyton Hamlet and Dylan Connor battle. Connor not working in the right direction. He's up on the outside lane now. He's got Peyton Hamlet rather, to his inside. Connor able to get back in front right there as Jacob Hayes makes the move back behind. Up front, Brandon Atkinson to the inside of Matthew Elzy Jr. Thought about challenging Brandon Elvis there for the race lead. Elvis right there in the middle of the racetrack trying to defend both lanes at once. Atkinson through turns 3 and 4, slowly rolling around the bottom side of the racetrack. Elzy in the 27 trying everything on the outside of the racetrack. And now to the outside goes Matthew Elzy Jr. Elvis in the 54 has to leave a lane up to the top. What can the 27 do on the top side? Elvis able to shut it. And the 54 will hold the race lead, but Matthew Elzy Jr. really figuring out that top lane in the 27. He was able to hold off Brandon Atkinson and Brandon Elvis in the 54. Just about lost the race lead right there. Didn't think the 27 was able to move it that far up the racetrack. As things settle back down, up at the front, Jacob Hayes underneath Peyton Hamlet. This is for the 12th spot on the racetrack as Hayes 3 wide underneath Dylan Connor. Trying to get the 2 for 1 as they both split Dylan Connor. Hamlet to the outside, Hayes to the bottom. I think Dylan Connor is just trying to play this race as conservatively as he can. He's watching how aggressive everybody else around him is running their race. Doesn't want to put himself in a bad spot late as Justin Coleman in that beautiful Coastal Performance number 14. Trying to work his way forward. He started 19th in this one, up to 14th. So slowly clicking off the laps and trying to work his way to the front. Matt Borndren to the inside of Andrew Turner in the 51. Borndren able to take the 7th spot, but Turner holding him tight, and there's a line of cars back behind him there. It's going to be tough for Andrew Turner in the 51 to not lose any positions there, and as I say that, Turner up the racetrack. They're 3 wide down into turn number 3. Hayes and Hamlet to the inside of Andrew Turner and able to clear on the exit, but Turner lost a ton of positions there. As up in front, Cole Baxter in the 19 is sideways. Here comes Matt Borndren to the outside. Baxter loses the rear end on the bottom side in turns 3 and 4, which is allowing Matt Borndren to roll on that outside lane. The outside is the longer way around, but when you can keep the car rolling straight and get that car underneath of you loose, you can make the pass work just like that. Matt Borndren up to the 7th spot. He'll set his sights on Braxton Nuise up the road. In the 6th position is Baxter, all kinds of sideways. They're 3 wide down into 3. That's Hayes in the middle, Hamlet on the outside, Baxter on the inside. And Jacob Hayes trying to squeeze down Cole Baxter to get that lane clear going down into 3. And it looks like he is going to be able to do so. Jacob Hayes driving forward in at that 0 machine. Keep an eye on Justin Coleman right there in the 14 as well. He's moving forward. Gavin Gardner in the 55 dives it in there, 3 wide. Baxter was almost going to shut the door right there, but I think thought better of it. As we take a look back up front, Brandon Atkinson has gotten around Matthew Elsie Jr. for the race lead in the chaos back behind that we've been watching. It's been a crazy battle for the last spot in the top 10. You can see Hayes and Hamlet still door-to-door, beating and banging down through turns 1 and 2. Now Coleman to the inside of both drivers. Hayes up to 10th. Coleman looks to the inside. There's a bumper to the back end of Hayes. Hayes was sideways through turns 3 and 4. That allows Justin Coleman to drive back to the bottom. We're just past the halfway point and things are getting intense towards the back of the pack. Coleman to the inside of Hayes, nearly an incident up off of 4 there. The 14 was, I think, trying to get a little bit aggressive, clearing the number 1 or 0. Through 3 and 4 that time. Hayes able to hold the spot on the top side, but Coleman still driving back forward, trying to see what he can do if there's anything left for him. But Coleman loose on the bottom. Gavin Gardner in the 55 looks to the top side, shut the door on Peyton Hamlet and looked up to the outside of Justin Coleman, and now he will try to take that 11th spot away. Up the road ahead of him, Braxton DeWeese able to get by Kristen Pena. They're 3 wide back behind him. Justin Coleman underneath Gavin Gardner. 4 wide through turn number 4. And I didn't think that was going to work. Gavin Gardner in the 55 up into the wall. They keep it straight somehow. They were 4 wide on the exit of turn number 4. And Justin Coleman able to sneak by them all and get that 10th spot. Here comes Jacob Hayes and Gavin Gardner. There's contact between the two of them. Gardner drove into the left rear, and Hayes going to repay the favor, and there goes Gavin Gardner in the 55, and the caution flag is out. First caution flag of the night. 58 laps into this one. How about the racing we were watching? I know one driver that did not want to see that was Brandon Elvis in the 54. But let's watch what happened to Gavin Gardner. I think it started the lap before. They were 4 wide on the exit. And then this is down into 3. Watch Gardner in the 55. Makes contact with Hayes. Gets him sideways there. Gardner is able to get by. And then down into turns 1 and 2. Right around goes the number 55. I think that was heating up for a couple laps there. Hayes may have just been tired of standing for it. Under caution for the first time here tonight. Brandon Elvis in the 54 going to choose the outside lane. And we'll see how that works out for him. That'll allow Carter Hollingsworth to be in the 4th spot. That might be the money spot on this restart. Keep an eye on that 28. The lights are back on. The pace car here, not going to send them green this time by. I think we were wanting to make sure the lineup was all good to go in the back of the pack. But 1 to go signal given. And it will be the Brandon and Brandon show on the front row. Matthew Elsie Jr. runs 3rd. Carter Hollingsworth runs in 4th. Through turns 3 and 4 to go into the restart zone. A good launch from the 54 of Brandon Elvis, and we are back underway with just over 35 laps to go. Good launch from the 54 of Elvis down the back straightaway, but here comes Carter Hollingsworth in the 28, shot out of a cannon out of 1 and 2 through turns 3 and 4. Hollingsworth able to take over the second spot. This time by, it will be 35 laps to go. Elvis in the 54 using up that outside lane. Carter Hollingsworth in the 28 trying to find a way to pass him. I think he knows how tough the bottom lane has been. Hollingsworth trying to get the run up off of the corner and cut underneath. Just sizing him up at this moment. Christian Pena in the 50. Back up into the top 5. Runs in 4th just ahead of Matthew Elsie Jr. And now here comes Carter Hollingsworth to the inside. Looks underneath Brandon Elvis. Hollingsworth in the 28. Drives down to the bottom. There's contact. The 28 is loose. He saves it. And now is going to have to fend off Brandon Atkinson in the 15. Atkinson able to get the advantage on the top. Hollingsworth, I think, going to have to reset here, get back up in the line on that outside lane. If he can get up in front of Tristan Pena, and the answer is no. Around goes Carter Hollingsworth. And a couple other cars involved. Matt Bondren, Dylan Connor, and Hollingsworth in the 28 down pit road. I think that may be a night. Let's watch what happened here. He saw the contact with Elvis in the 54 the corner before, and you can see Hollingsworth just was not clear trying to get back up to the top. And an unfortunate end to his night. He was right there in the second spot, challenging your race leader, Brandon Elvis. Just unfortunately, I think got caught up in the heat of the moment there. Go on board with the drone camera here. See exactly how it happened. This is up off the corner. You can see the 50 just had a lane out there. And Hollingsworth tried to shut the door. There just was not enough room. Dylan Connor in the 91 did a nice job of keeping that car from getting tore up in any way. But going to lose some track position, unfortunately. Well, it's lights out once again. We are ready to go back racing. Brandon Elvis and Brandon Atkinson once again, your front row, bringing us back through the restart zone. Green flag is back out. 27 laps to go at Hickory. Good launch from Elvis on the outside lane. Brandon Atkinson able to slide up and get right up in front of Tristan Pena for the second spot. And now Braxton Deweese underneath Pena for third. Jackson McLaren up into the top 5 in the number 7. How about Justin Coleman and Zach Murphy? A couple drivers that started outside of the top 15. Mixing it up, trying to get up into the top 5. Murphy to the outside of Matthew Elsie Jr. Both drivers a little sideways out of 4. 25 laps remain here at Hickory. Jackson McLaren has worked his way back up into the top 5. Battles with Braxton Deweese for the 4th spot. They're 2 by 2 down the backstretch. McLaren on the outside of Deweese. Murphy on the outside of Elsie. Neither driver able to pull ahead just yet. Elsie in the 27 trying to use up every bit of room that he's got. The 29 of Murphy just able to hold off. Back behind him, they're 3 wide. Noah Longyear in the 18 on the top. Got sandwiched up into the wall there, and that's your fast qualifier, Dylan Connor, to the inside, trying to get the 2 for 1. We look back up in front. LZ to the inside of Murphy. There's a little contact there. Murphy pulls back ahead. LZ trying to widen out the groove as much as the 29's going to let him. But with 20 laps to go, you can bet Murphy's not going to be able to, or not going to be very willing to give very much room. He battles for that 6th spot. Back behind him, Justin Coleman to the inside of Peyton Hamlet, quietly working his way forward. Your top 5 nose to tail down into turns 3 and 4. They continue to battle for the 6th position back behind them. Murphy looks like clears LZ that time. The 27 continues to drive it back to the bottom. Coleman right there in the 14, waiting, thinking about 3 wide on the inside if the 27 can't hold it down. Laps are running out here as DeWeese puts the bumper to the back of the 7. Jackson McLaren. DeWeese gets by for the 4th spot. 16 laps to go. Can Brandon Elvis hold off Brandon Atkinson? Keep an eye on this 14, working his way forward, Justin Coleman. Underneath, LZ. A little loose on the bottom of the racetrack, just trying to drive that car up off the best that he can. 15 remain. It'll be 14 when we get back this time. Coleman all kinds of sideways with Matthew LZ Jr. to his outside. There's contact up off of 4 that time. That stacked them all up for a minute. 14 really starting to lose that drive up off the corner, and now here comes the 27. Pulls back even through turns 3 and 4. Up off the corner that time, Justin Coleman able to clear Matthew LZ Jr. Move Coleman up to the 7th spot. And LZ now under fire from Hamlet and Ashworth, both drivers looking for more just outside of the top 10. You look back up front, the battle for the lead. Brandon Elvis currently holds the top spot. Atkinson and DeWeese trying to track him down. DeWeese underneath Pena. Noah Longyear brings it down pit road. 10 laps remain. Braxton DeWeese up to the 3rd spot. Don't count out that number 8 just yet. Right behind Brandon Atkinson, running about a 10th faster than both Atkinson and your race leader. Let's see if DeWeese has got anything left in the tank. Right up to the back bumper of Atkinson. Really look to his inside, down into 3. It looks like he does. Atkinson going to try to hold DeWeese tight, but DeWeese able to pilot the 8 machine down to the bottom. Braxton DeWeese in the Interstate Ford number 8, driving down on the inside lane, trying to make the bottom work. With 8 laps to go, it'll be 7 to go this time. Is there enough time remaining for Braxton DeWeese as he gets clear of Brandon Atkinson that time? He's got a half a second to make up to Brandon Elvis. It will be 6 laps to go this time. Dylan Connor gets back around Justin Coleman, move the 91 up to the 7th spot where he started. How about Zach Murphy driving up into the top 5 in the number 29 machine, your hard charger so far. We have got 5 laps to go. Is there anything left in the tank for Braxton DeWeese trying to track down Brandon Elvis? You can see the 8 car rolling that inside lane. 4 to go at the stripe that time, and he took a chunk out of your leader. Over a 10th faster the last 2 laps. under 0.4 of a second to make up. Can Braxton Deweese make it happen? 3 laps to go for Brandon Elvis. Another 10th out of the 54's lead. Down the back straightaway, the flagman going to have the popsicle sticks up in the air this time. 2 laps to go for the 54 of Brandon Elvis. And the clock strike for Braxton Deweese in the number 8. Tries to drive it back down to the inside. He pulls right up almost to the back bumper. Down into turn number 3. This time out of 4. White flag is out. Final time, and Braxton Deweese is right there. Down into turn number 1. The 54 of Elvis is sideways. There is a bumper from the back of Braxton Deweese. Deweese down into 3, looks to the inside, and there's contact. Elvis in the 54 spins. It's going to be a drag race, and Braxton Deweese is going to pick up the victory. Elvis slides it across the line in the second spot, and Braxton Deweese steals it at Hickory. Elvis led wire to wire, but Braxton Deweese made it happen through turns 3 and 4, and Deweese is a Street Stock Showdown winner. He parks it in victory lane. Prior to tonight, Deweese had 5 starts, 1 top 5 finish, and now he is a winner in the Leave the Pack Street Stock Showdown. We'll get our results up on screen, and we will talk to our top 3 finishers. We'll see if we can get our top 3 finishers in just a moment. We'll get things sorted out here. We'll take a quick step away on the WD Broadcasting Network and be back with a word from our top 3 finishers once we get this sorted out at the Hickory Motor Speedway.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Cody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
All right, folks, we're back here on the WD Broadcasting Network, ready to talk to our winner here tonight for the first time in his career, Street Stock Showdown winner, Braxton Deweese, up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy. All right, well, that was a crazy run to the finish. You got by Atkinson with about 9 laps to go. I was watching the lap times. I knew you were going to be able to get just about to the back bumper of Elvis. Tell me about that final lap. Tell me about the feeling in victory lane.
I definitely didn't want to bump him that hard. I wanted to bump him a little. I know he's definitely upset. I get it. I was moved up the lane up at Langley, and didn't really respect that. So he had at least one coming back to. I had to move him up a little bit. I mean, I'm not the one to move up, but if it happens like twice, I'm gonna do something. And that was it. It was just a little too much. I told him I wanted to at least be side by side and have a good finish, but yeah, he'll be upset. It is what it is.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate part of it sometimes, and it was a hard-fought race. You did a good job keeping the 8 machine up in contention all night long. We had a lot of green flag laps here tonight, and you had a lot of opportunity to burn up the tires, and it looked like you saved the best out of everybody in the field because you were hard charging there at the end. What was it taking throughout the race to keep your car under control and keep your mind patient when everything was getting chaotic around you?
Just being patient, especially there at the beginning when we got the invert, qualified seventh, but got the pole, and then we fell back to seventh place where we originally qualified. So, I just had to ride, and I was telling myself and on the stream, I know Jeff was watching or anybody else. I was just telling, just gotta, chill it out, not, slip it the right rear too much, not push the right front too much, and just have something there. I felt like if it went green, we had a better shot, and that worked out there at the end when we were able to get to third, and we fell back to fifth, but made some moves to get back up, and we were able to have the drive off, which I feel like was very important, center off, to be able to get the power down, and yeah, we were just hunting them down, and I'm not the one to honestly use the bumper, so I'm kind of like, about this win, so it is what it is.
Yeah, it does take away from the victory lane feeling sometimes when it does come in such a circumstance, but still, to win in the Street Stock Showdown in your sixth start, it's a pretty tough series. Not a lot of drivers. There's some pretty big names that have not won a Street Stock Showdown race yet, so to be on that list, pretty cool deal. Who do you have to thank for the victory here this evening?
Big shout out to Interstate Ford on the car, as always. They're a big help not only with sim racing but real life racing. Also shout out to 3 Dips Ice Cream Shop, Boinkles, Steak Time, Dewey's Renovations, Superior Sim Racing. You can use the code BDR5, 5% off over there. Elevated TV, Ghost Train, Wood Nickel Band, Evan Piano Designs, Phillips Wraps and Graphics, our Pete's House, Winchester, Indiana, Beaver Contracting for sponsoring the Roadsters at Anderson. We'll be racing this Saturday, the Roval for 25 laps. It'll be my first Roval attempt and my second ever start at Anderson. And a little more news. I'll probably do more of this, like breaking news tomorrow, but I'm going to be racing a Dirt Legend at Muller Raceway Park on Friday nights now. I got the opportunity to do so, so looking forward to that. More content around that, along with the Roadster. So got you on the car, WD Broadcasting Network, so I appreciate you, and looking forward to go back and watching the race. The long green flag runs, I like to watch them races. I like to see how they unfold, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was definitely a long green flag run night here tonight. It was fun to watch. I didn't know how it was going to be, and I think we definitely put on the best Hickory race of the 3 that we've had. So congratulations to you, Braxton, on your win here tonight, and good luck to you in your racing endeavors this weekend. Dirt Legend, that's pretty cool. So wheel and deal there, and let me know how you do. Keep me posted throughout the weekend. We'll keep up with you on Facebook, but congratulations on your victory here tonight.
I appreciate it. Take care, Winston.
Yes, sir. All right, now to talk to our second place finisher here tonight. So close to win number 2 this season. Led every lap but the important one. Brandon Elvis, 1 spot short here tonight. I think 1 corner short here tonight. How are we feeling after Hickory?
No, I think after race review, I will be the winner. There's no doubt about that. When the guy just goes in there and junks me going in the middle of 3. So I mean, can't race like that, man. That's kind of BS if you ask me.
Yeah, there was a bit of contact down through turns 3 and 4, and definitely not the way that you wanted the race to end. Of course, that race beforehand, you did a great job managing the gap up front and keeping everybody behind you. You had some pressure from LZ, from Atkinson, other drivers, all race long. How were you able to keep the car under control and have enough tire to put yourself in a position at the end?
Yeah, I think, I had to drive a little bit harder than I wanted to when LZ was pushing way too hard at the beginning there, and just kind of making me run a little bit more pace than I wanted to, and that I kind of burnt the right rear up a little bit staying in front of him, but just tried to keep it underneath me and save it to the end, and I think it would have worked just fine. But like I said, that was Bush League stuff, man. There's no room for that in racing.
Yeah, definitely. Like we said, not the way we wanted it to unfold there, but still a good night in the points for you. Second place here this evening. You've been slowly working your way up through the standings. Second place here tonight. We go to Rockingham next week. First time we've been there. What are your expectations going into Rockingham? How do you think it's going to race?
I just hope the 8 car's not in front of me.
All right. Well, hopefully hopefully there are better circumstances next week. But who do you have to thank, Brandon, for P2 here tonight?
Yeah, just thanks all my buddies, my wife for letting me do this. My dad watching at home. Coleman Design running like a throwback car here tonight. Yeah, just Coastal Performance, ECR, the guys. Just you for putting it still on.
Yes, sir. Well, congratulations on P2 here tonight. We wish it could have been the victory we were looking for, but still, good run. We wish you luck at Rockingham.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not P1 by the time they do race review, I probably would just back out of the league. Be honest with you.
Well, hopefully Rockingham, we can see you there, and we'll see what happens post race. Not too sure how it's going to go down, but hopefully we can see it at Rockingham. All right, race fans, that was Brandon Elvis. Not too happy, of course, after the way that one unfolded. There was a little contact down into turns 3 and 4, but you knew the 8 machine was going to give it everything he had. He left it all on the table for sure. As we'll talk to now our third place finisher up into the broadcast booth, Brandon Atkinson, P3 here tonight. Tell me about your run.
Oh yes, that was a good run. Had me sweating a lot at the end there. I definitely burned a little bit of my right rear more than I anticipated. And it fell off the cliff really with, kind of probably 10 laps after that last restart, which was probably about 20 to go. I had to hang on to it for a while, and it was really tough. Good racing with Tristan and Deweese and Brandon, and also LC Jr. He was up there. I'm not sure what happened to him exactly, but we had some good racing throughout the race.
Yeah, it was definitely fun watching you guys duke it out at the front. Tell me about how later in the race, how the racing early on, did that affect the car later in the race?
Yeah, I pushed up on the start. I was starting on the outside, so I figured I could gain a few positions early without putting much stress on the tires and the right rear. But I kind of got up there and ended up in third, and figured I'd see if I could go for the track position and get the clean air, and that would ultimately, would have probably helped me win the race there, because it's so much easier to keep your tires cool and set the pace. But I just couldn't do it. It was tough to pass with the top being so heavy tonight. So with that being said, I definitely burnt my tires up a little more than I would have liked to, and I kind of knew I was in the back of my head, but I wanted to stay where I was at, and I kind of had heat on my rear all throughout the race with different people, so that always makes it tough to keep your tires cool as well. I feel like I did a decent job with the pace I was running, but we just didn't have enough at the end, and I'm really lucky I was able to hold on to a third place here and have a good points night again.
Yeah, like you said, good night in the points. You are the leader in the points. You've been the leader for, I think, a couple weeks now, and going into Rockingham, you're going to extend that lead just a little bit over Dylan Connor here tonight. Rockingham, we've never been there in the Street Stock Showdown. What are your expectations? What notes do you have prepared?
I don't know. I might have to get up with the team here, and we're gonna have to assemble a drafting pack, and maybe see if that'll work. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some testing. I'll turn the AI on and see how the drafting is, possibly, just because I ain't never done that before. So I usually try to avoid those races because they're really fun, but usually they're not good for your safety rating and stuff and those officials. So hopefully we can have a good race and the car handles well. So it should be good. Just hopefully get a nice consistent finish again for these points.
Yeah, for sure. That's what it's going to take going forward to maintain the points lead and win the championship down the road. Of course, we've got quite some time until that point, but good run for you here tonight. P3, who do you have to thank for a podium finish?
Thank you, WD, for putting the series on and dealing with us, and thanks for all the guys for racing. Thanks everyone that's watching, and that's about all I got. I got no sponsors if y'all want to sponsor me. shoot me an email. You can find it somewhere. As far as that goes, that's all. And I'll see you next time.
All right. Hopefully we can see you in victory lane here soon. Still looking for that first Street Stock Showdown victory this season, but we know it's coming soon. You've been knocking on the door, and it's going to happen in one of these races. Hopefully at Rockingham. How fun would that be?
That'd be great. All we can do is keep on trying.
All right. Well, congratulations to you on P3 here tonight, BA.
Thanks, WD. Have a good night.
Yep, you too. Brandon Atkinson, your third place finisher. Let's run through the rest of our finishing orders. Zach Murphy and Tristan Pena round out your top 5. Pena 4th, Murphy 5th. Jackson McLaren comes home in the 6th spot. Dylan Connor, your fast qualifier, finishes in the 7th spot where he began. Chris Shepard comes home 8th. Jacob Hayes comes home 9th. Chris Smith comes home in the 10th spot. Gavin Gardner 11th. Matt Borndren 12th. Justin Coleman 13th. Matthew Elzy Jr. 14th. Trey Ashworth 15th. Peyton Hamlet 16th. Cole Baxter rounds out your lead lap finishers. Andrew Turner comes home 11th. Andrew Turner comes home 18th. Don't know why I said 11th. Noah Longyear 19th. Carter Hollingsworth 8th. Can't read. Carter Hollingsworth 20th. There we go. And rounding out our field, Jesse Binkley and Logan Drumheller. Well, folks, thank you for watching here tonight. It was a fun race at the Hickory Motor Speedway. One of the better Street Stock Showdown races that we have had. I feel like everybody did a good job of keeping it clean and putting on some hard racing. Here's the schedule going forward. We mentioned Rockingham, South Boston on the 21st, Slinger 200 laps, July 28th, right here, Tuesday, July 28th at 9 o'clock. We're going to send them green at Slinger for 200 laps. We'll see who can go to victory lane. And then after that, 5 more races, and we are at the season finale. We will see you guys next time. Thank you for tuning into the WD Broadcasting Network. See you guys Thursday night for the Trackmaster Sim Series. Monday night for the YourBigPlans.com 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. And then next Tuesday, right back here with the Street Stock Showdown at the Rockingham Speedway. See you guys there. Have a great rest of your week and support a racetrack on a Saturday night if you can. Until then, I'm your host, Winston Deal, signing it off. Everybody take it easy. Peace.